Hello there, this is Fi. We're checking out Ninja Game. This is a game I've not played before. We're gonna give it a shot here and get some feedback. Um, the game page didn't mention anything other than saying to use a gamepad, which is what I'm doing here. So I've got my Xbox 360 controller. Don't know anything else about this other than it appears to involve ninjas. So it's like press any key. I'm gonna try the gamepad button. This doesn't look like anything is actually. Whoop. Okay, well I mashed like a zillion buttons and eventually it did get to the screen. So it's a start or enter to begin. Um, okay, I press the start key or the button on the gamepad. Oh, looks like I'm controlling this. Okay, so immediately I noticed that the dead zone is a bit too small here on the thumbstick. So that can definitely lead to misinputs. Like sometimes if I move in a direction and then like let off the stick, you know, you're gonna get stuff where the character suddenly turns and stuff like that. So definitely recommend setting the dead zone a little bit bigger, something like 0.3 to 0.4 is good for most games. And yeah, you can see like, okay, so you can see at the moment I'm not actually touching the stick. It's just the nature of not having the dead zone set correctly, that it doesn't always reset to perfectly to 0. And actually, I had both sticks were having the same problem there. That I didn't even realize the camera was moving on its own there too. So, yeah. So as you can see, that can happen. It looks like I'm dropping a few frames here and there. I do wish we had some exclusive full screen action going on here. Oof, yeah, that's really annoying. Issues with the dead zone there. Yeah, I definitely recommend whenever you get an options menu in here, add a option for exclusive full screen and to switch off VSync and all that stuff. And get some frames back. Looks like open doors to the top button. Pick up is also the top button, so let's try that on these things, I guess. I don't. Do we have an inventory or something? Looks like next item. Oh, okay. So looks like pressing the specifically the right direction on the D-pad changes the item. It's interesting, but it shows on the character, which is interesting, but it's also it's not always the most visible. Like if I stand like this, obviously I can see that quite clearly. Facing this way, it's a little more obscured, and you know, I don't know what else we're going to be doing in terms of uh, camera movement and, you know, being against different backgrounds and stuff. But maybe you can make that a little more visible if nothing else. But I guess we only have two. Like, do we only carry 2 items? Is that all? So, okay, our trigger is use item. Okay, so we have some of the, what? Oh, that's kind of cute. Okay. What are these things called? They start with a C, I think. I don't remember. But yeah, those things. Ours use item. Now, okay. So, all right. Oh gosh, the issues with the drift from the lack of dead zones is gonna drive me crazy, I'm afraid. Okay, so that's our crouch. Looks like it is a toggle. But yeah, we have use item differently if we use L and then R, I guess. Of course, I already used up all the items, so I kind of did that intentionally just for the sake of experimenting. But oh, we have restart right here. Okay, that makes it easier. Much easier. Okay, wait a minute. What if I? Okay, let's say there's another character over here. I didn't know if it was like a selectable character or something. Maybe it's just, maybe that's playing in the future. I don't know what this little dot is that's appearing there. That doesn't look like it's. Oh, I can punch this person. Okay. So if I hold L and then press R. Oh, I gotta pick up the stuff first. Okay, so holding L locks me like this. This is sort of Zelda-esque, so I would guess that maybe you can have like a lock-on function, but okay, so that throws it forwards. Okay. I see. Yeah, alright, makes sense. One thing I noticed is that there's nothing indicating what item is currently selected. So like you have to change it in order to see visually. But like I don't know what is selected at the moment, so I kind of have to like spam this to see what's going on there. So that's something I definitely want to change. I'm gonna restart this to get my stuff back, and then we'll see if we can. I don't know if there's more tutorial. Press start on. Oh, okay. Start on second controller. So that's apparently player 2. That's interesting. I don't have another controller, or another human, but I'm definitely curious about that. How that is managed, like with the camera and everything. And where I guess there's a door here. All right, we got more. Okay, attack, dodge. It does look like L is lock on. R right bumper is block. Hold jump to grab. Oh, look at that. Hold jump to grab ledges. Looks like pressing. Oh. Okay. Pressing up will climb. Pressing down will let go. Left and right doesn't do anything currently. Makes sense. Alright. We got some combos, it looks like. I think we can change directions pretty quickly. Oh, camera decided that it wanted to be real close for some reason. I don't know what happened there. Okay, so it would appear that we've got. We can sort of animation cancel a little bit to go into the dodge, and it does also seem like the input is buffered a bit if you press it not too early. If you do it really early, it doesn't seem to. Oh, pretty forgiving for the first hit, but like on the last hit, if you press it really early, it just kind of eats it. So it's not always buffering it. You have to have a little bit of timing, but it's pretty generous on that. So that was interesting. Okay, so I tried pressing up a few times and pressing the jump button, and I couldn't get that to climb. I was kind of hanging at a, like, it sort of looked like I was facing the right like this while hanging, so I don't know if something kind of bugged out there with the hang or what, but interesting. Yeah, it seems like a little bit of thought has been put into the implementation of. Oh, you can also dodge. Wait, like dodge sideways. Looks like it wants to lock on to that character down there. That does bring into question whether this lock-on system is taking into account the collision with the world. Like obviously that guy is like through the floor, so I don't think I would want to lock onto him. So you might want to consider taking that into account. Maybe you want to have line of sight or whatever before you lock onto guys like this. I guess we just kind of go wherever. Yeah, that feels pretty good. I wonder what it's like to actually fight people. Jump is pretty floaty. I think you might benefit from turning up the gravity a little bit there, maybe. 3 targets remaining. Ah. Okay, so I don't appear to be able to lock on from here.
ここだ。
Or maybe I am locking. Okay. Oh, okay. There's a. Nope. That's exclamation mark. I'd like to see some kind of indication on screen to show like what you're locked onto. Does this even work? Oops. Okay, he moves faster than I thought. Okay, I was spamming the wrong button too. I was spamming the jump button instead of the dodge button. What's up with the right, so the camera is kind of seems like it's fully manual, like you don't really get a lot of help with it. It doesn't do much on its own from what I can tell. Um but yeah, the lock on is a little finicky. Like I was saying, I'd like to see some kind of indication to show like what you're locked on to, you know, just put like a little marker over the head or something. Right now we have this exclamation mark. It's kind of occupying that space, but like yeah, see, it seems like it's really easy to kind of miss the lock on, you know, like it's not snapping enough to the character. I guess you have to like really position the character in the middle of the camera or something. I don't know about distance either. Like right now I'm not locked onto that guy, so yeah, I'm not really sure why. It seems quite hard to get the lock on to work correctly. I guess you have to face it with the character. Okay, you have to really face them with the character, not so much with the actual camera here. Alright, so he wants to fight me. Alright, so I was dodging while he hit me, so it doesn't seem like there's like invincibility or anything in the dodge itself. It seems like it's based on, you know, just moving out of the way of the collision or whatever. Well, let's give that another proper try here. Oh, that's the wrong selection. All right, gotta go all the way back here. Oh, okay, so we're gonna do that kind of thing. You will, I mean, this is maybe obvious, but you will at some point want to have an option to switch the vertical axis on the right stick because it's more natural for some people. That's kind of what for me, I feel like it's maybe inverted from what I would set it to, but
ここだ。
so I know I was kind of saying I want an indicator for when you're locked on. It does seem like that. Well, the circle is kind of doing the job there. Little circle that appears there. Sure, it's placeholder. Yeah, it definitely seems like it's a little bit harder to get the lock on to work than it really ought to be. Wait, this guy has a sword. I don't remember that guy having a sword. Oh my gosh, okay, so, interesting. So it doesn't seem like, it doesn't seem like you're really gonna react to them throwing an attack and then dodge, that kind of thing, because the speed at which things are happening is a little bit too fast. And also I noticed that after he did his little combo, I kind of thought he was gonna like throw his little 3-hit combo and then, you know, kind of reset and have a little moment of breathing room, but he just like almost immediately started attacking again. So definitely the first impression is that maybe you could have a little bit more of a
ここだ。
oh, he goes and picks it up or something. It looks like he has a sheath on his waist there. I don't know why you'd pick up a sword off the table instead of just pulling it out. But yeah, definitely first impression is that might benefit from having a little bit more of a telegraph and giving the player a little bit more time to react to things rather than sort of trying to preemptively guess when it's going to come out, or, you know, once you get to a certain range or whatever. Yeah, so definitely those two things. Just the speed at which the attacks come out, and also the brevity of time between the combos, where you don't really have a chance to react or whatever. I don't really know what I'm doing at this point, so
ここ
I'm
だ。
not immediately thinking like, okay, I just got knocked down and like what am I gonna do next kind of thing, because I don't have the experience yet to really understand what's gonna happen or what I'm supposed to do next or whatever. So I think he's dead. I can steal his sword, which is pretty cool. I didn't pick up those items from before either. Uh, well, this being a ninja game, it does suggest that maybe fighting people dead on isn't always meant to be the idea, so I don't know how much you
ここ
really
だ。
expected to do like stealth or such things. I mean, we have what are the buttons for the items again? All right,
こ
the
こだ。
R key. I don't know which. The one on the left is the spiky things, right?
ここだ。
So what do you? I mean, obviously I can just throw them behind me and then. Oh. All right, yeah, that's bad. Okay, yeah. So stepping on the things yourself, you get punished for it. It's a really long time you have to wait for that to wear off, though. I also wonder if you might want to have it so, like, if you take damage, it just kind of instantly gets you out of that animation where you're holding your foot or whatever. Oh, so he's walking now. So I wonder if there's like a trigger, like when you get closer, that he starts moving if he doesn't see you first or something. Because it looks like I don't think he would have been. It didn't seem like he was going to move from the spot until I got closer and was crouching like that. I don't know. I don't know if that's the case or not, but oh gosh, trying to manhandle this camera, but the thing being inverted from my preferences isn't helping here. Oop. Not to mention the lack of dead zones. I wonder if I can grab onto. Oh, it's not what I was trying to do, but seems like if you crouch in the air, it'll like land silently, but sometimes it doesn't. Like if you're actually moving the stick when you land, it doesn't land silently. I mean, in terms of the actual audio asset playing, so I don't know what the deal is with that. Oh, it looks like we had a little window up there. I was gonna say it's kind of weird to just, if you're thinking about stealth, to just kind of blindly walk into a room like that, but it looks like we've got a little thing up here. Oh, interesting. Okay, well, climbing's a little bit sketch. Okay, crouching. All right, that's pretty cool. Looks like it's trying to lock on to someone through this wall now. Kind of wonder if you could like actually damage them through the wall, like shove the sword through the wall or something to kill someone. That would be kind of cool. But I don't know. Can you jump on his head or something? There's nowhere else to go in here, right? All right, so you can jump on his head, but you have to do something afterwards because it only knocks me down. Oof. I'm guessing that was the person up there, which I kind of revealed by little lock-on circle appearing through the wall. So otherwise, I don't think I would know where that sound was coming from. You know what I mean? Um, I mean, in terms of, can I pause this? No, nope. Ah, okay. Yeah, I'm not really sure how you really meant to avoid attacks at this point because just kind of spamming the dodge button doesn't seem to do much. Once they hit you, they can kind of stun lock you for their little combos or whatever. It doesn't appear like you can dodge out of that or anything, which it doesn't feel good getting stun locked, especially if you have little health in the game as in the current state. So yeah, I'm feeling like unless I'm missing something, the defensive options are a bit lacking. I mean, I can understand if it's meant to be more of a stealth game, uh, just running in and killing everyone hand to hand is usually something you want to discourage. So that's kind of it can be a hard thing to do, especially with this kind of gameplay. Like if you want it to be possible to fight someone face to face and win, then if you design the game that way, generally it's pretty straightforward for the player to just kind of like ignore stealth and just run through and kill everyone that way, right? But um, if you don't want them to do that, then what do? Do you make it so that they can't win an encounter an encounter like this, or is that does that make sense to have combat like this at all? If that's the case, I don't think it necessarily does. So it's kind of this weird thing to figure out. But it also depends on what the intentions of the developer are, because I haven't been given anything to go off of in terms of what my goals are with the game here. So I'm just kind of making some assumptions, like, okay, it's a ninja game. Probably want me to stealth. It definitely looks like it's got some elements of that in the level design and everything. So um, yeah, interesting. And also like the items being, how would you describe them? Kind of designed around the idea of escaping. That's also something interesting to consider. I do tend to feel like with stealth games, I guess it depends. I was going to say I'm not sure if it's usually like you get caught by someone in a stealth game, do you usually stand and fight, or do you usually try to run and hide, that kind of thing? And I guess there's not really a clear answer to that. I didn't even think about going over here or whatever. What is this? Oh, there's just a sword just here. Hmm. Can you like drop items? I don't think we've been given. Oh, pressing select, it says ability, crouch, ability, jump. I don't know if, oh, Okay, the D-pad is working. D-pad is working with this menu over here. I don't know if this is implemented or if this is even meant to be gameplay or if that's like debug. Yeah, I'm curious if you can like drop the sword. Seems like that would be a thing you would want to be able to do, but maybe that's just not in the game yet or whatever. It does seem like your recovery off of like the first sword swing is a little bit less than like your little jab in the unarmed mode. There's quite a bit of fog. I kind of wish I could see a little bit further. This is all kind of just janky looking stuff over here. I don't know if there's anything over there. Like I'd rather just be able to see a bit further. It's probably trying to hide some of this stuff, but I'd like to be able to just kind of see over there so I don't like run over there and waste my time. You know what I mean? Just to see whether or not anything is there. It kind of looks like it's just kind of a wall over here. I guess there's a big crevasse to fall into here. Oh, 3 targets remaining. So I guess we actually are supposed to be eliminating some people. Wonder if it's like specifically the ones that are red in color or something. Like how else would you know which people are targets? Because there's more than 3 people, right? Pretty sure there are more than 3 people in that I've seen so far. Also, I feel like I'm moving slower than it. Like, is it always that fast? I don't know. It just looks like it's a not much of a run or whatever, but I don't know. Maybe it was always like that. I do feel like those little window openings that look like ledges you would be able to grab onto. I'm guessing nothing's over there. Yeah, I think that's like a scripted thing where he just kind of leaves as long as you as long as you're crouching or something. Oh, I can get 2 swords. Interesting. I don't know if there's any limit to how many of these thingies I can carry. Wait a minute. Oh, okay. So that you can carry more than 2 things. You can have more than 2 things that you have to switch between, but like what? If I select the sword, pressing the R trigger doesn't like do anything, so. Oh, okay. I was gonna say I thought I was forgetting something. Apparently there is a block button, so I wasn't using that before, so that's obviously that's a big deal. Also, you can go under here, presumably. Yeah, so unfortunately it's just the downside of just kind of throwing all the controls at the player at the start rather than like teaching them gradually as they actually become relevant to the context of what the player is doing. It's just so easy to just forget. So it always happens with me if they just, tell you all the controls right off the bat, then it's just like you're just gonna forget them all because you're not being given that information in context. So yeah, I gotta try using the block clearly. Yeah, so I feel like this section right here is not like this is the rooms here. I guess if you could call them rooms, are pretty empty. So it doesn't seem like there's a lot to stealth around, and the guys don't seem super aware. So it seemed like before I was just kind of standing right here, and the guy just kind of walked right past because he wasn't looking this direction. But I do wonder if the best thing to do is just like once you start hitting them to just keep mashing the attack button. Like, do you just unlock them and they just die? Um, Seems kind of lame, but fun little hidey spot. Uh, I do feel like maybe it's a bit obvious, but it'd be nice to have like some kind of a backstab kind of thing if you sneak up behind someone. You know, that's usually how things work in stealth games, where if you can get right behind someone undetected, then you can just eliminate them instantly. But you know, that's probably something for the future. I'm sure the developers thought of that. So there's a red colored guy. He's over there, and hard for me to see. This is a pretty complex area, so it's like, oh, I was trying to fall silently, but it didn't seem to work. Yeah, it's hard to wrap my head around this. Like, are there any other guys around or whatever? Because this area is quite complex here. I feel like the footstep sounds are pretty meaty. Definitely hear them. Okay, yeah, it does seem like it's the guys in red. And it does seem like the best thing to do to eliminate enemies is just to keep mashing the attack button. There's someone. Oh, I don't know. I hear all sorts of footsteps, but I don't know where they're coming from. I guess they're probably upstairs from here. I don't know. Audio is tricky, especially when you have kind of complex layouts like this, where people can be right on the floor right above you or below you and stuff like that. And the sound effects aren't really giving you that kind of information because it's hard to encode that kind of information into sounds. It's possible, but it's challenging to do that kind of thing. Yeah, you have to put some thought into that. I think in terms of like, do you even want to play the sounds if they're on a completely different floor from you, or and on in line of sight? I mean, you don't want to create a situation where you didn't hear something you should, but um, altogether a little tricky. Oh, I think he's just turned to close the door again or something. Looked like he turned towards me. Look, I might be able to jump up into the rafters there. Okay, that guy's dead. There's a guy out there. An odd seam in the ceiling here. Oh, there's a blue guy. Wonder why he's blue. Should I do try and run around the other way? Oh, okay. Never mind. Oh, this is a door. These kind of blend in a bit. I wish they stood. It doesn't really read as a door that obviously compared to everything else. Like these windows and stuff kind of look the same. I don't know if those are. I don't think that's actually a window, but this part up here with the. Oh, hello.
ここだ。
Take that. Okay, so like. Crap. Okay, so you throw the spiky things out and the guys are gonna run and step on them, and that seems like a really good opportunity to like run back and attack them, but then it's like the things are there and you can step on them yourself, so it seems like it's not necessarily guaranteed that you're gonna step on one of them, but if you do, you get screwed over pretty badly. So it's a little bit annoying. I mean, I guess, you know, obviously if you don't approach it that way and you're just trying to run away, you're not going to create that problem. But I don't know, it just seems like it's too good to pass up. If he's just stunned there, you can just run back and kill him. I mean, that's kind of your goal, is to kill the guys, right? So it's hard to resist that. So it's kind of an annoying thing, I guess, the way that ends up working out. Wait, that guy saw me? Or is he... Because I wasn't in the grass? No, I thought there was enough grass between me and him. Now I don't even have the sword. Right. You wanna fight? I don't think I can block a sword, can I? Just holding the block button. Okay, it did. Oh, that was interesting. Alright, so I think the annoying thing about the defensive element of the combat is that, like, once you get hit, you're just kind of stun locked for a while and you're just going to keep taking hits until they stop for a moment, which maybe is a thing that happens in games, but I can't take very many hits before I die, so I feel like I should be able to do something to react and not get stun locked, if you know what I mean. Did you see me again? What the heck? I don't get it. I guess maybe the grass doesn't work the way I thought it does. I don't know. Okay, yeah, so if you keep trying to spam attack after he started blocking, that's bad. Which is reasonable design. Okay, so he's going inside. There's another guy right there. I think I can just... Oop. Oh. Ah! Yeah, so it's like as soon as you start getting hit, it's like you've already lost, you know what I mean? As soon as you take the first hit there, I can't do anything else to react until he finishes his combo or whatever, so... Kind of frustrating, because... you know, getting into these situations, it's hard to be completely flawless about it. So I expect to, you know, just take a hit here and there or whatever. But when it's like take a hit and then you just, uh, I mean, you don't die after the first combo, but it's like I think you take 2 of them or something and then you're done. So it's like, yeah. And it doesn't help that like the camera isn't perfect here with especially navigating these kind of narrow indoor environments and stuff. Did he really just look at me? What is your problem? What, is he going somewhere else? Wait, what are you doing? No.
ここだ。
Look. Yeah, you know, it's a little hard to see around all this stuff sometimes. Sometimes having a little bit of an over the shoulder. I mean, this is sort of over the shoulder, I guess. I guess, I don't know, am I completely centered? Yeah, I am. This is kind of an optical illusion here. But sometimes having a little bit of an over the shoulder sort of view. So instead of being centered in the screen, I'm going to be off to the side a little bit compared to the camera. Can kind of help with peeking around edges and stuff like this. Then like if you have maybe you have another button that'll like switch the side that the camera is over or the shoulder. And that's one of those things that can help you to sort of see around the environment a little better. You know, stuff like being able to sidle up against walls and kind of you can do stuff with the camera like that. Like you can kind of get to the edge and kind of have the camera move out more or something. You know, sometimes people do leaning and stuff, but this is all, you know, you only have so many buttons on the controller to work with, and yeah, there's always a give and take, but stuff like that is worth considering. But like,
ここだ。
oh, wrong button. Ah. Oh, see, I thought I could dodge the wrong way, apparently. Oh, how did that still hit me? No, 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 that one shouldn't have hit. Yeah, it was kind of annoying. It looked like I dodged everything right, and then like at the end of the last dodge there, the attack still ended up hitting me. I guess you have some kind of lingering hitboxes on the attacks or something. One thing I will say, if you haven't considered this, I thought that other guy was gonna come after me. He just didn't notice all the mayhem. But, oh, I just picked up something from him, I guess. One thing I'll mention, because it sort of feels like this is being designed in a sort of a symmetric fashion where it's kind of like the stuff that I do is kind of the same as the stuff the enemy does, right? Which, on a conceptual level, sort of makes sense for a stealth game because you want the enemies to be quite dangerous. But usually you want to be a little bit careful about that and kind of introduce asymmetry where it makes sense. So, for instance, if I do an attack, sometimes it can be a good thing to have like the hitbox kind of linger for a bit for the player, because it can kind of avoid some things that can be a little bit annoying with timing and such. Just makes it a little bit more forgiving, right? With the timing of things, that if the enemy runs into the attack a little bit later, that it'll still hit them, right? But you kind of get the opposite effect if the enemy is doing the same, right? Where it's kind of making things worse for you, because um, it looks like they already did the attack, but then like you kind of run into it later, and it's like, oh, that doesn't really make sense. And it kind of just makes it frustrating instead of being forgiving. So things like that, I always recommend. I'm sorry. I always recommend thinking about things in sort of an asymmetrical fashion where it makes sense. I guess you could have gone. What is this? Oh, the place over here. Okay, interesting. But yeah, there's a lot of little things like that where if you kind of make things a little bit more forgiving for the player, just to avoid frustrations and timing issues and things like that, it can help a lot. And don't be afraid to, unbalance the asymmetry in the favor of the player like that. And also, don't give the enemies unfair advantages and stuff. Like if you want to give the player an unfair advantage, that makes all the sense in the world, right? Um, but that doesn't mean, in a broader sense, you can't have things mostly symmetrical, where the kind of damage you're dealing is also sort of the kind of damage being dealt to you and stuff like that, which seems to be the idea here. That works for this kind of game. And it would be nice to have some other kinds of toys to play with. My items seem to be built around escaping so far, but maybe something I could use to distract a guy or
ここだ。
something. Okay, don't. I'm just gonna try fighting. I'm feeling like I know enough about the combat now that I could probably just run around and fight. Even though I know that it's, you only have to make one or two mistakes to die. Seems like if you know how to block right at the right time and attack at the right time, then that's pretty much all you have to do. As long as you're not fighting more than one guy, because that introduces more variables that are difficult to deal with, right? So yeah, it seems like mostly mashing attack. If they don't block, then they're gonna die. If they do start blocking, then you have to throw up your block, and then you just wait a moment while they do their combo, and then you can kind of go back to killing them. That seems to be pretty much it. The dodge is cool. It feels good when you nail it just right, and the way the timing seems to line up with the rhythm of their attacks, which makes it extra cool. I'm not sure if it's as useful right now as just standing and blocking. You do get a little bit of a mobility if you need it. Like if you need to try and get away, then it makes sense to kind of, rather than block their attacks, maybe you want to do this while you're kind of trying to move in the direction you're trying to escape or something. I don't know. We're still going up here.
ここだ。
Oh, crap. Oh, man. Be nice to know my health, too, because I don't have any idea of how close I am to death, actually, whenever I'm doing this. But I think... Wait. Oh, that guy was in black. Oh, that's annoying, because it's probably... Looks like that's the roof here, this structure, so I'm guessing the last guy is probably in here or something. I don't know, should I try it again? See if my combat mastery is all I think it is, except for... What did happen at that last part? I think I didn't really commit what happened to memory. Like why I ended up getting hit. I don't know if I was like messing with the camera or whatever. I obviously just ran right in there. But again, they kind of, when they do attack, you don't have any chance really to react to it, which is a little bit of a bummer. Okay, I'm gonna try. Oh, that was the wrong button. I want to do one of these flying kicks here. That's cool. I like that. Okay. Okay, it's always the same kick. Okay, I really like the double leg kick and the way you have to kind of get up off the ground. That's really cool. That feels really cool. That's very satisfying. But I feel like if you're doing like I feel like you should have a different kick if you're running versus if you're just standing and you throw it. Like you should do like a single leg kick that doesn't throw you on the ground like that, you know, you'd actually land on your back foot or something. I think that would be cool. Wait a minute, what happened to that sword? Why don't I have a sword? I'm confused. Maybe it doesn't matter that much. It doesn't seem like... Well, it probably just your reach, but it seems like I can kill guys pretty straightforward with or without it, right? Oh boy. Alright. Yeah, see. Like I said, you don't want to fight more than one guy at once. Because that's a bad situation. But
ここだ。
alright, he's dead. They do call for help, which I would expect would bring other... Wait a minute. Oh, I could have just ran in here, I guess, instead of going under. Wait. Oh, okay, I went inside and then I went down there. Okay, so, yeah. This would have been quicker, I guess.
ここだ。
What? Uh-oh. Oh, this isn't a great situation. Ah! I don't know what the smoke does exactly. I assume it would block line of sight, but I don't know if it's that effective, because it looked like the guy could see me when I was trying to run anyways. A little bit of an auto crouch there, that's kind of cool. Alright, are you gonna try and... Oh, hello. Ah! Okay. Yeah, so we don't have time to react to the second guy. Because, like I've been saying, their attacks come out so fast, and I'm already in my animation. So yeah, if they just took a little bit longer to throw their attack out there, I could have squeezed in, you know, my dodge move that I was trying to do, but I was, you know, still locked in the animation there. Yeah, so I guess rather than... kind of just want to see the end because I know I can get there. Wonder. Oh, I have an idea. be good to test whether we can just kind of run through how much we can do just running past the enemies, you know what I mean? Because it's definitely something you want to... Oh, hey, look at that. Look at that. That's what I was talking about. So it is over the shoulder. It's just not very much. And you even got the button I was talking about to switch the view. But yeah, I would definitely consider shifting the camera a little bit more there, just so we get more. I mean, maybe it's a... I don't know if it's annoying if your
ここだ。
camera is too far off to one side or the other while you're trying to fight. Just do, combat like this. I don't know. Oh no, I was trying to be funny. So I'm curious, if I just fall on the ground like that and just lay there, it seemed like he thought I was dead, and then I just got up and killed him. I don't know if that was an intentional thing or not, but I think that was actually really cool. So if it was intentional, then kudos. If not, then make that a feature, because that's cool. I was trying to do a jumping kick there earlier, but I just fudged the buttons, pushed the wrong button, which is why I jumped up and got knocked over. Again, I don't have a sword. I guess I can pick up a sword. Seems like you do about the same damage though, huh? With or without the sword, which is kind of weird, but this is kind of cool. I mean, it feels cool still being dangerous without the sword, you know what I mean? Oh my gosh. Oh wait. Oh, did he not take fall damage? I really wanted him to fall down and die. But yeah, that'd be a fun thing to add, is to make exaggerated fall damage for the enemies. So if you have a situation like that, you could just knock him over and then he just go splat. That would be really satisfying. That would be fun. Oh, okay. Alright.
ここだ。
Ah. Ah, yeah. Fighting two enemies is really funky. Not... But yeah, I guess that's the end of the game right there. I don't think there's anything else. Oh, looks like there's something going on the ceiling here, though, in the... you got these rafters up there, and then there's an opening over there that you can presumably go through. So I'm curious about that. But yeah, I guess I'll wrap this up rather than trying again, but it's actually quite fun. It's once you kind of get the hang of the mechanics. And it's kind of fun being really strong and being able to just run around and kill the guys, even though I'm not sure if that's the intended way to do it. The combat thing is tricky, especially like I said, if you're trying to discourage too much of it. It's pretty hard to accomplish that. Obviously, at the moment, fighting two guys at once is really dangerous. Fighting one guy at once is actually very easy once you figure it out, once you kind of solve the puzzle. Um, so that's kind of the way it stands at the moment. There's definitely, obviously, things you can do to tweak this. One thing I would consider is first of all, I mean, I said this a lot, but I would definitely suggest making it so the enemies take a little bit longer to throw their attack. Before they throw their attack, they have a little bit more of a telegraph, so that you have something to react to. I would start with that and have that as sort of a foundation, I guess. Um, Obviously, that would make things a little bit easier, but it just kind of gives you more to work with the gameplay once you actually have that ability to react to things. And that'll kind of help with this situation where if there's two enemies, you don't just instantly die unless you run away. You know what I mean? You might actually have the ability to kind of maybe you hit a guy and then you dodge the other guy's attacks. Right now you can't really do that just because of the way the timings work. Other thing I would suggest is so right now if an enemy starts blocking your attacks and it's like, okay, they're blocking your attacks, you start blocking because they're about to attack as soon as you stop attacking, right? And then they attack and you block their attacks. But they always do 3 attacks, it seems. So one thing I would suggest is that if you're blocking, and you might add like a little bit of randomness to this or whatever, but if you're blocking and they start throwing their attacks, maybe they're like, oh, they kind of realize that you're blocking their attacks, so maybe they'll stop before they do all 3, so they're not always as predictable. You know what I mean? Maybe maybe they just throw 2 attacks and they're like, oh, well, both got blocked, so now I'm going to do something else. Or maybe they just throw 1 and then do something else, and you can have them sort of mix up their behaviors a little bit in a way that makes sense with that kind of thing, and then that would potentially lead into um, adding a little bit of complexity for the player to actually sort of react to pay attention to and react to what the enemy is doing, and then it won't be quite as formulaic at that point. If you start going in that direction, there might be more than just that element to it. But that's what I would try, and then you could potentially have combat that feels more complex, and then it might be, by being more complex, it can feel more challenging and therefore more dangerous, but not unfair. You know what I mean? Because that's the really tricky and difficult thing with this kind of game. And if you want it to be like a stealthy game, but also have combat, is you don't want to get in the situation where you have to choose between either the combat is kind of impossible or it's possible, but you can just always kill the guy, so you don't actually have to stealth. You know what I mean? And I think the best way to address that is to try to make combat more complex and therefore more challenging, but always very possible. So you always want to be able to have the ability to avoid damage, for instance. It's just kind of an action game axiom. And you always want the player to feel like there was something they could have done, right, in every single individual little situation. Moment to moment, there's always something that they could have done, even if it was hard to come up with at the moment. um there's always something that they could have done to escape that situation, or to turn it in their favor, right? That's kind of the ideal you want to aim for. Whereas at the moment, it's sort of a little bit on the kind of binary, uh, sort of a binary situation where it's like either you're kind of dominating them, or it feels like you get into these spots where there's not anything you can do, and like, uh, kind of like what I was saying before, when you get stun locked by their attacks and stuff like that. Which is another thing. I definitely think it'd be nice if you had some kind of a response out of getting hit for the first time, other than just eating the next attacks. maybe there's some way you can respond to that to mitigate the next attacks and stuff like that. That would all add some nice complexity in there, I think. But yeah, apart from the actual combat itself, looks like you have some interesting ideas in here. I definitely think it would be, well, obviously there's a lot more you can do, and I'm sure that the developer has a lot more planned. But you know, I can imagine some things so far, like um, maybe if a guy's knocked over, maybe you can do like an execution or something. Uh, since that seems like an advantageous thing to do, like if you jump off the rafters on top of them and it knocks them over, like obviously you can just start hacking away at them, but I think it'd be neat if you could just stick the sword in them or something. And obviously, like when you sneak up behind someone, that would make sense. And like I mentioned before, the thing about the fall damage would make a lot of sense when you knock a guy off of a high area. And there's probably all sorts of other things you could do. I did mention briefly, I feel like in terms of the items, um, I'd like to have something that I might be able to use more proactively instead of like, oh no, I have to run, I'm gonna chuck this thing and then escape, you know? So for instance, most stealth games have things you can use as distractions, so like something you could throw or whatever, and it's like it makes a noise, and it's like, oh, and then he goes and investigates and stuff like that you can manipulate the enemies with. And you can come up with any number of other things, but I like to see stuff like that. And you know, some kind of actual UI would be good in terms of maybe the developer is trying to avoid that specifically, but I'd like to be able to see how much health I have. I'd like to be able to see what item I have selected in my little inventory. Things like that I think are important. So yeah, this was fun. I got a kick out of this. And doing the, what do you call that? The jumping kick there. The double leg kick. That was a lot of fun. So I'm curious to see where things go from here. Hopefully this was useful for you. Let me know if you have any questions. Can I get my mouse back here? I guess that's the next question. There is options here. Oh my gosh, that was always here? Oh, okay, so that's just, it's still in Borders window mode. Graphics are crisp. Oh, crunchy, interesting. Okay, so just the resolution. Okay, yeah, so I think I'm gonna go to quit here and all right, now I have my mouse. All right, see you in the next one.